Good evening, everybody. It's another Thursday, and this is Mick Diaz of Mick Diaz Presents, and we have another episode of Who Are We? And I was just talking about how we started as Who is SoCal, but we branched out and included more people from the East Coast, from the West Coast, from different countries, from the Philippines, and so now we are called Who Are We? And we are on Kumu, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And so hello to everyone on Kumu. I know there's a lot of people who are watching on Kumu every week. They join us every Thursday and Friday. So hello to everyone who's out there. And for all of our friends out there, we do have travel professionals tonight. And they will be sharing their tips and tricks and advices for everybody now that the world is slowly but surely opening up, and so people are so eager to travel, and so we'll hear from our experts. But before anything else, I just wanted to remind everybody that we do have a concert coming up. So it's a live concert on location on Saturday, July 31 at 8 o'clock p.m. at the Thai Arts Community Building. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard and Western Avenue, right in the heart of Hollywood, California, Los Angeles, California, that is. And it's Garth Garcia along with our other Philam singers, Rosen, Enzo Morales. SoCal Collective Live will be playing with them, and we do have some dancers and backup singers with Garth. And Julius Floria Gracer is hosting the event. And Garth will also be signing EPs because he has an EP release, and we're gonna party because we have food. So everybody, if you have any questions and if you want to buy tickets, just hit me up. Send me a message. And now, so are you guys ready for me to bring in our guests? So hashtag live if you're watching live, and hashtag replay if you're watching replay, and hashtag travel, because I know everyone wants to travel, and I'm dying to travel as well. So everyone, let's all welcome. We have Alvin Adriano. So Alvin is the CEO of Travelwise International. He has been able to grow his family business into one of the largest Filipino-owned agencies in the U.S. And mind you, they're really, really, really busy and expanding his operations with global offices in Maryland and in the Philippines. And Alvin has partnered with the Philippine Department of Tourism and is one of the lead influencers and speakers in the promotion of inbound tourism for the Philippines. How exciting is that? So let's find out from Alvin himself. Let's all welcome Alvin. Hi, how are you
Hi, Mick.
doing?
How are you doing today? Hi,
I'm
all our viewers.
good.
What's
Aren't
going
you
on?
excited to talk about traveling or
I'm
travel
always,
itself?
always excited about travel. We've been pent up for so many months, and now that we're finally going to see some of the light at the end of the tunnel, it's just exciting to talk about travel. I'm so lucky to be here and talking to you, Mick, with all the guests on board today. So excited.
Yes, yes, I'm very excited, and I do have a lot of questions for everyone. But our next guest is no other than the daddy who travels, and he travels with the rest of his family, all four children and his wife in tow. And he is actually the blogger behind Daddy Travels Now, Miles Points, Dim Sum, and Then Some. I wonder what the Then Some means, right? Are you curious, Alvin?
I am.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm just as curious as you are. But he is a very busy father of four, and he shows us the possibilities of traveling the world for less or for free. And mind you, my gosh, I've seen his posts all over social media. I'm like living vicariously through him, right? Um and he will share with us the many tips and tricks that he has, um, and also invite us to his travel group on Facebook. So let's all welcome Mr. Jason Francisco. Hi,
Hey, Mick.
Jason.
Hey, Alvin, Mick. How you guys doing?
Good, good, good.
We're
Very good.
good.
Very
Yeah,
good.
we're really excited. I'm so excited for tonight's panel because
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite topics.
absolutely.
I mean,
Traveling is always welcome. We can talk travel 24/7. Not a
yes,
problem.
who doesn't love traveling? Because with traveling comes learning different cultures, learning different languages,
Exactly.
learning about like the different places you can go to, and also eating different kinds of food, right?
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best part. And speaking of traveling, we have someone, Joey C, who has been a travel expert for more than 30 years. And travel is his passion, and he is the happiest when he is able to help his clients fulfill their travel dreams. And so I'm wondering, is he going to be able to fulfill my travel dream and my dream of eating all kinds of food whenever I travel?
That's our goal.
Yeah, that's our goal. So let's all welcome Joey. Hashtag Joey.
Hello,
Hi, Joey.
everyone. Hi, how are you doing?
How are
How's
you
everybody?
doing?
Good. Mhm. Mhm. It's nice to be here.
Yes, it is. It is such a breath of fresh air because everyone, like Alvin was saying earlier, everyone's been pent up and cooped up, right?
Right.
And we're slowly opening up. And so that's why I invited all of you so that you can share with us and our viewers tips on traveling. And of course, we're going to find out more about you and what got you into your line of business and what your favorite destinations are, right? But before that, I just wanted to ask you. So here's my icebreaker question. Okay, so it seems like we're always talking about food, and everyone always wants to find out what's your favorite Filipino food. Let's start with
I'll,
Alvin.
I'll go ahead and go first. It depends on the time of day, but in breakfast, it has to be long silog, and then everywhere else it would be sisig.
Good choice, man. Good choice.
Yes. How about Jason?
Me, oh my gosh. I'm gonna stick with lunch and dinner. It's got to
We
be
have to have two,
sinigang.
right? We have to have
Yeah,
two.
there you go. Yeah, sinigang baboy, pork ribs,
Mm.
whatever. It's a comfort food, and it's funny. My mom lives with me, and whenever we travel, when we come home, it never fails. Mom has sinigang for us,
Mm.
so the kids and I we go crazy. So sinigang.
And how about Joey?
Well, with this pandemic, I've been doing a lot of cooking, And one of the things I've learned to cook like really well is sinigang. Sinigang as well. So
Oh,
I do sinigang na baboy, sinigang na hipon, and then it's very easy, and I find it easy, and it's quite good too.
Right.
so
Awesome.
speaking
That-
of traveling and eating, I smell a road trip to
Yeah.
Arcadia,
Yeah,
right?
the best sinigang around.
There you go.
Yeah, not too far from here.
Mhm.
That is so cool. And
Nice.
so let's go way, way, way back. So when you were a kid, were you always like itching to go somewhere, or like were you one of those kids who just wanted to be out, or like couldn't sit still in one place? I mean, what were you like, Joey?
When I was a kid, I was going to school fascinated. I was fascinated with history, and then I like to read about places. And then I go to we have a set of encyclopedias. I look at the pictures, and then like dream of going to those places. And now it's a reality. So um, that's where I kind of started, like an interest in what's going on in the world, and then interest in like historical places.
And how about you, Alvin?
Yeah, I was fortunate. My parents opened our business in 1989. And so I was born into the travel industry. And so being able to see the world with my mom and traveling with her groups and now taking over our agency, it's been a part of my life. I grew up as a tax accountant. And so moving over from a corporate job into my family business was a big step. But that was in 2008. I've never looked back, and this is one of the best industries to be in.
Mm-hmm. And what makes it one of the best industries to be in?
I think the best part is that discovery. They tell you like you in life, as long as you keep learning, you're living. And so just being able to visit some of these destinations, learning more about people, and the world continuously changes and evolves. So some of the places that you've been to, I love the Philippines. Every time I go back to the Philippines, people don't take advantage of our homeland because there's so many great destinations to visit. And I love being able to we talk about food. There's so many things that are attributed to travel, like food and music,
Mm.
and yeah, and so those are things that really are very experiential when it comes to travel. So I'd love to share that with my family, with my friends, and people who also share the same passion.
And Jason?
I think mine's a bit um, different in a way because I was born in the Philippines. My early years were in the Philippines. And my mom and dad, middle class family. They work for the Manila Electric Company, and so traveling to me back then was us going to Ilocos, or my dad would go to an account in Los Baños or Laguna or Batangas, and so we would be taken out of school and go to those places for the night or for a couple of days or something. But once we moved to the U.S., things are different. It's all about starting a new life, making ends meet, and so traveling did not become a priority at that point. It's all about this life that we have to live now. And so at that point, for me, it became more of a, oh, gee, one day I want to go to Sydney Opera House. Oh, one day I want to go to Hawaii or whatever. So it became just so far fetched at that early age when we moved here. And for me to be able to realize that now and to for my kids to see and experience something differently, it's quite fulfilling to be able to provide them that kind of an experience, things that I did not get to at my age at that time.
Yeah.
Mm. Yes, and that's true for a lot of people, right? I mean, once you move to a new country, it's all about survival, and it does take quite a bit, quite a while for you to actually like get to travel and
Yep.
like, and with you especially, Jason, it's about earning points and getting to that level, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And so, well, since you're there, I wanted to ask you, can you give us a summary of what you do as um, a travel person who travels
Mhm.
using credit card points?
Right. You and I know that a typical traveler would be you buy a plane ticket or you purchase a hotel room using cash or credit card. That's a lot of the travelers out there. That's what they do. But 6, 7 years ago, I learned that there are ways where you can use certain credit cards. Not all credit cards. Not every Visa or Mastercard or American Express out there provides such reward. There are different credit cards with perks, either travel rewards or cashback or uh, just different incentives. But in my particular case, I found something that I really like because prior to this, 6, 7 years ago, for us to be traveling to Hawaii once every year or once every other year, that was it. Life was good already, for us to be able to do that. Because again, we have 4 kids, and you and I know. I mean, to those who would say having one kid is expensive, try four. Okay, so it's definitely not cheap. But I had to find a way for me to supplement my desire to travel. Not
Mm-hmm.
that we don't have any money per se, but I wanted to set aside my money, let's say for my investments, and I'd like to use my regular daily expenses and use that towards traveling. And so these credit cards that I have or that I signed up for, you earn bonus points. You I use them to pay regular bills, clothes, dining, utilities, just everyday expenses, nothing out of this world. And all of those expenses, every single dollar equates to some kind of a point that you can either use as a cashback or you can exchange it for a travel reward. Case in point, this Monday, 6 of us are flying to Hawaii, um, and and we use points, and the only fees out of pocket is $11.20. So for the 6 of us, we paid 67.20 plus the points, and there is one credit card right now that you can sign up for, and that would have made it possible. In this case, we've been going to Hawaii once a year. In fact, this year, my wife and I are going twice this year because it's so much easier for us to reach this, well, without even having to think about the dollar amount because now we have points that we can use. So that's kind of like my lifestyle now in a nutshell.
That is so cool. So all of us aspire to travel like that, like one of these days. So let's go to Joey. Can you explain to us, give us a quick summary of what you do as a travel agent?
Um, right now, travel agents are already called travel advisors. So that's the new name for travel agents. And what I do is like I can help somebody plan like from start to finish. So like planning travel, like where you want to go, and then what your budget is, and then what are the places you want to see, and then what places you want to cover. So based on the inputs from the clients, I can put things together, and then make everything easy for them so that it will be smooth from start to finish. So starts with airline tickets, helping them with airline tickets, and then helping them with either with a tour, or there are people who wanted to do things on their own. I could help them with that as well, like get them their hotels, get them their sightseeing, and then get them their transportation, and also help them with their train tickets and sometimes admission tickets to attractions. So basically, like, tell me what you want to do, where you want to go, then I can put it together for you. And then not only that, like we also do cruises, you know, like help you with getting to, like places in Europe, Caribbean, so Mediterranean, stuff like that. And then there's also like a simple airline ticket. People going back to the Philippines, we do that a lot. And yeah, so we're basically all around, a well-rounded, like one-stop travel agency.
Yeah, so I can already dream up some destinations and some places to go and some things to do in all the
Mhm.
different continents once everything opens up,
Mhm.
right? And so
Oh,
speaking
yes.
of inbound travel to the Philippines, so Alvin, what do you do in terms of inbound travel to the Philippines? How does that work?
Well, we know Filipinos. We travel to go to Philippines not for leisure all the time, to visit family, friends. We're one of the we really take pride in going back to our country, but we really don't share that experience with a lot of non-Filipinos. So I work a lot with the Department of Tourism, increasing, creating visibility and marketing Philippines as that new bucket list destinations, especially for Americans, because we just don't have that same I guess desire here in North America, like Thailand, or Maldives or South Pacific. But we're hoping with I guess the evolution of travel now, with people looking for more purposeful, meaningful, less over touristy places, that we can really build and increase the amount of tourism, because tourism dollars makes a lot, and it's about like 10% of the GDP of Philippines. So if we can find a way to increase that, I think we'll find a lot of successes for local businesses in Philippines, and be really proud as Philippines grows in the tourism and travel sector.
Mhm.
That is so awesome. Yeah, so that's something that we all look forward to. Like, almost everybody likes going back to the motherland, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so in terms of like your biggest influences, I know you mentioned earlier that you were born into the travel industry.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to finally go into your family business?
One, it was not knowing that, and everyone didn't have the ability to travel. We were often going to trips, to Europe, to wherever my mom had groups. So when she was planning to sell the business, I was just like, what am I going to do? Let me see how well I could do it. And I didn't realize my mom was prepping me. Filipino parents are very notorious for guiding
Mhm.
us the way that they want to. And so when I entered the family business, I really I really knew where everything was. I didn't realize I was trained to do this. And so within the first 2 3 years, our agency took off, and that's when I knew I had something great. And then when we went to Philippines and then created jobs for for Filipinos there, in a way that we could help the economy, that was really, really fulfilling. And so we've been able to grow and grow. So, unfortunately, the pandemic hit, but, our aspirations for our growth and expansion in Philippines continues on. So we're really excited about the opportunities that's created for us and our family, and the opportunities that we'll be able to create for other people as well.
That's awesome. And so, um, just like you, Joey, from a very early age, like reading about the history of other cultures and other countries and reading about different places. So, Joey, how did you get into the travel business? Were you starting at the very start? Did you start at the young age as well?
Um, Actually, when I first came to the US, one of the opportunities that I bumped into was to work in a travel agency. So I did not know anything. What the only thing that I had was like this interest and passion with travel. So I started from the bottom, uh, started as a reservations and ticketing agent, and then got to know. Like making reservations, bookings, and then pricing out an itinerary, and then so it started from there, and then from there, like I was interested in doing more complicated stuff. I wasn't content with just doing like Los Angeles Manila ticket. Give me something more difficult. So I tried doing that, and I find it easy. And then if there's a multi destinations that somebody wants to go to, that's a challenge on how to do it. But I found it easy to do, and it was like a pleasure doing it. So I was
Yes.
happy with that. Mhm.
Yes. And so travel planning is actually one of the things that I really love doing. I like planning
Yeah.
my travels.
Mhm.
And so going back to Jason, because Jason's experience is a little bit different from our experiences in the sense that I'm really curious as to how he stumbled upon credit card points and using them for traveling.
Right. Back in 2014, I was traveling a lot back east, and I was flying United, and I was staying in Marriott hotels. And someone told me, "Oh, might as well open up a frequent flyer with United,
Mhm.
an account with Marriott." And so I did, and 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 I just started reading. The internet, Google is such a good thing depending on how you use it, but there's just so much information out there. And at that time, I was already blogging on a personal level. Again, the blog was more about, oh, our family went to Hawaii, we ate this, we saw this, we swam here, we stayed in this place. It was really more of a diary, right? But once I stumbled upon um, how I want to travel for less, it just snowballed from one credit card to another. Um, I found a credit card that will be good for Hawaii. I found out that there's a Marriott card, that there is a Hyatt card, and so it's just one thing after another. And then the blog evolved more into becoming, how did we fly to Europe? Just me and my daughter. We went from London to Paris to Lisbon, and this, and we only paid, let's say, $245. And we went to all of those different countries and stayed at all of these 4 and 5 star hotels. And so it became more of a how-to, and I'm finding my own little piece of audience, if I may. And I think what sets me apart is I'm just I'm really just a family guy. When I saw the title of our show, Travel Professionals, I don't think of myself as a professional. I mean, it's just Jason with 4 kids who's an Uber driver to his kids, really. That's really who I am. And
But
so,
you're a professional at
I mean,
figuring out how to use credit card points for
right,
traveling, right?
right. I just never really thought of myself as a professional, but thank you, Mick. But yeah, it just became like that, and I think I'm I have my voice, and there are folks who could really um, understand what I do, because here's this guy with 4 kids, husband and wife are working full time, and they're all over the world for less.
Mhm.
And so I want to do that. I think is what they're saying, or why can't I do that? And again, if you're part of my Facebook group, which I know you are, I try to keep it real. I don't pretend
Mhm.
that I'm gonna go to and fly first class every weekend. I mean, I'm not. I don't
Yes.
do that. I just keep it real, because really, at the end of the day, and I tell this to folks, at the end of the day, I just want to travel for less. I just want to travel more with my family, and that's how I keep my stuff real. And I think that's how I have a little following in my little Facebook group.
That is
Mhm.
so true. And speaking of um, challenges, and I'm sure there are challenges with what you do. So, what do you think is needed to be like a successful traveler, and what were the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
With the stuff that I do, and I'm sure
Yes.
Joey and
Yeah.
Alvin will have their own. With the stuff that I do, um, you really have to be committed to, again, we're talking about credit cards. If you want to get into this kind of activity, it's really not meant for everybody. I am not here encouraging every single human being to get into this hobby or to this game. I mean, you have to have a very decent score. We're talking high 600s or even low 700s and above. You have to be disciplined. You have to, I tell folks, if you buy something worth 2,000, when the statement comes the next month, you pay in full. You don't pay $20. You don't pay the minimum. You have to be disciplined and be paying in full. And also, there are folks who are doing this. Hey, you know what, Jason, I want to do what you're doing, but not as crazy as you. I just want to do this for my honeymoon. And so I think what I'm saying is you have to have a goal. Are you in it for the short term only, like a honeymoon, something very specific, or Jason, you know what, I want to do something similar to you, and so you're doing this more of a long term. And so those are the things that I think you need to be asking yourself on how you want to um, work this game, so that you are more prepared, and you know exactly what you're getting into.
That is so true. And it could be very daunting and complicated. Just trying to figure out how to balance all these things, right? Like how to balance your debt and debt to income ratio, how to balance like paying it out and getting the right points or even accruing the points to begin with, without going in too much debt, right? I mean,
Right.
how does it,
I mean,
all
it's
work?
it's really
It's
all
baffling.
right, right. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that my wife is in it to win it with me. So she's in the game, if I may. And so, like she will tell me, like this morning, she was texting me about a brand new Hyatt hotel in downtown LA that she wants to check it out. Because there is a healthcare discount, and so she's in it. She's in the game with me, because it's a brand new experience. There are points to be had, but when it comes to the whole financial aspect of it, we have spreadsheets, we have notebooks of credit card statements and bills that we need to pay, and we remind each other. My wife is so good in organizing. She's got her iPhone set with alarms. Today, Chase Inc. is due. Tomorrow, the mortgage is due. The next day, this is due. And so, and so we get these alarms, and so nothing is ever missed. But no matter what happens, the goal is we have to pay in full and on time. And I cannot stress that anymore. This is not a
Mhm.
game where you only pay the minimum. That's really, I think, the thing that I cannot um, just teach people. It's got to be in you to really want to do that. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
That is so true. And you do need a team of people, right? You do need people who to surround yourself with the people who support you, right? And in terms of like people surrounding yourself with the people who support you, Alvin was born into this travel industry, right?
Mhm.
With the whole team, and I'm sure that had a lot of challenges while you were growing up. What were the challenges that you encountered? Were there any? Because I'm sure you're
Um,
like all over the world. You're like traveling in and out of different countries.
yeah, I mean, there's always challenges, as any entrepreneur can tell you. I mean, every day you wake up, there's always uncertainty. And so the more successful you become, you just learn to, find your failures and just learn from them. And you just wake up every day comfortable with uncertainty. And so, over the course of our family business, we've been open for 30 years. We've seen the ups and downs, the trends. And, one thing that's really, I guess, a characteristic of the Filipinos is resilience. We're very resilient, and every entrepreneur has to learn to be resilient. And I think every entrepreneur learned that in 2020, continuing now, especially in the travel industry. We were devastated by what was going on. I mean, if you were to tell me that the world would stop, every place, every airline, every plane, ship would stop, I would laugh. but now we know that can happen. We now know that it can happen, and so all we can do now is prepare for the future, prepare for this. In case these things happen, we can find easier ways or more efficient ways to prevent this. But you know, challenges are just part of it. It's things that we deal with every single day. It's just how we get up from these challenges. And so I'm just excited for the new. I guess it's like a renaissance for travel coming back, because a lot of people, the first time that demand and supply are both coming up at the same time. So excited for the future.
And so, speaking of challenges and the world closing, several times within the last 30 years. So, Joey has been in the travel industry for more than 30 years as well.
Mhm.
So, what were the trends that you saw? We've had several worldwide events, right, that were cathartic for a lot of people. 9/11 happened. Desert Storm happened. Like all these things happen. And especially in the Philippines, every year there are calamities, right?
Yes.
So what trends do you see every time there's something that kind of stops the world from happening?
Well, I've encountered a few of them. Like, as you said, the 9/11, when that happened, like everything stopped. And then the SARS epidemic in Hong Kong. And then a lot of things were affected as well. And then another thing was when the onset of these online travel agencies. So the mom and pop travel agencies were affected by these online travel agencies. And then now we have COVID. So, but all through these things, we survived, and we were able to get through it. So, yeah, so we're still here, and looking forward to the future. The future is exciting.
Yes, and where do you see travel going into the future? What do you see people doing with their travel? Like where do you think people will go, or what type of trips do you think people will be taking?
Um, well, the the travel agents or the travel advisors are here to stay. Like people may think that they can do everything on their own. Like oh, we could book it online. They could do everything online. But the truth of it is, right now it's not as simple as it maybe it used to be. So things are getting more complicated. You have to know a lot of things, the restrictions of going out and getting into one country. So um, make sure, like, I just wanted to get this through to like the public watching. Most of them think that the travel agencies or the travel agents are their enemies, but we're not. They think that our prices are higher, but they're not. Like our prices are comparable to what you find on the internet. Like if you find something lower, we have wholesalers or tour operators who does price matching. So so we have all that. And then so I would stress the importance of using a travel agent. Like yes, you might be able to do things on your own, but it's still good to use a travel agent. Just like work with them, tell them what you want to accomplish, and we could help you accomplish that. We could help you achieve that, and we could help you fulfill whatever it is that you wanted to do.
And
If
so going back to what we like most about what we do, right? I'm
Mhm.
sure all of you love traveling. That's why you're in the business of traveling.
Mhm.
um what were your most memorable experiences, and what was your favorite destination? You can only
um,
choose one for each.
oh, I have two.
Let's like make it more challenging, shall we?
Um, I had a chance to go to Jordan, and if you go to Jordan, you should visit Petra. And then when you go to Petra, you should. They have this Petra at night. So you go there in the evening, and then on the way to the treasury, the building, the main building that you always see in the picture, the walkway is lined up with candles, and then right in front of the treasury is like you see thousands of candles on the floor, and then you sit there on the ground with like they provided a carpet to sit on, and then uh, everybody's quiet, and then they have a Bedouin who played music, and then you just sit there in the quiet of the night, and then you see the stars, and then it was such a beautiful experience. So that's something very memorable, Jordan.
That's one place I've never been to. So let's go to Alvin. What was your favorite destination or most memorable experience?
Um, I would say Istanbul. I love going to Istanbul. I was there earlier this year in May. I just love the fact that it's one of the only cities that is separated. It's on two continents. It has a
Mm.
European side and an Asian side, and you can see the different influences of each. And then just the history and culture. So many things happened as that being a passageway for the Silk Road. So just learning about that, and if you've never taken a Turkish bath, having a real one is an experience on your own. It's something that you have to do if you step in there. And then there's like little places that I remember, like Cappadocia, in the hot air balloons sailing across uh, Pamela. Pamalate.
Pamukkale, Pamukkale.
Pamukkale. There you go. Pamukkale. I always get that one confused. There are just tons of places that you can veer off to. And so, yeah, Istanbul and then in Turkey in general.
That is so awesome. This one place I've never been to either, but I've only seen Cappadocia in pictures, and I've seen those hot air balloons too.
Yeah.
That is so awesome, and it's something that I'd like to learn about. It's the silk route, right?
Oh, yeah. You learn so
Yeah.
much about when you get to travel these places, just the history and how it's all interconnected. So,
Yes, and so let's make things more interesting for Jason. Um, what's your most memorable experience, and what's your favorite travel destination? Not the Philippines.
I know, not the Philippines. No, that's the Philippines. Come on, make it more interesting.
Let's make it more
Um,
interesting.
Right. I guess I'm choosing this because it's really one of my favorites, but at the same time, I think it was a credit card triumph, if I may. Um, in 2019, 19 members of my family, 1-9, flew to Japan. 12 of us flew from LA to Japan, one from London to Japan, and another handful from Manila to Japan. We all met in Tokyo, went to Osaka, went to Kyoto. From a credit card perspective, of the 19, 12 of us flew for free.
Wow.
Okay, 12. And we're not talking Inky Dinky Airline. We're talking ANA, ranked number 3 in the world. Coach,
Nice.
all right, ranked number 3 in the world. But you know, when we planned this like 8-9 months earlier, actually even prior to that, I told the family I'd like for us to go all go on a trip, and there's really a way where we can all travel for free. And so of those 12 folks, half of them are mine, 6 are on my side, and the others, they all applied for their own credit card. And sure enough, we all flew for free, round trip, ANA, LA to Tokyo. And so it was a lot of fun. Just imagine 19 Filipinos, going on the Shinkansen, and we went to an onsen. My son and I, we did the Mario Kart. Oh my gosh, we so many things, and I think at the end of the day, yes, we flew for free, but I really think at the end of the day, and I think I'm sure Joey and Alvin can attest to this, and Mick, you can attest to this. It's really what you get out of this trip. I mean, we were kind of going in. Are we gonna hate each other? Because 19 of us, and it's not like we stayed in different hotels or anything. We found one big house in Tokyo for
Oh my
all 19
goodness.
of us. another place in Kyoto, another place in Osaka. We were all together, and we all stuck together. And so it was just a whole lot of fun, and so that's one of the best things that we as a family did together. And right now we keep planning. After this pandemic, we'll do this, we'll do that, and so we keep planning. So
Yeah, that's one of those hard, like, difficult things, like traveling with the rest of your family or traveling with with groups of people, right? Like a couple want to go here, three of them want to go there. They want to do like
right,
all these other things, right? And people have to stick to the schedule. So that's something
right,
that I learned from my dad when I was a very young kid. Like he liked travel planning, and like he had everything planned as all the way to like what seat we were gonna sit in the car. It was that detailed, right?
okay, that's really OCD now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like who's bringing what, who's taking what. But yeah, and it's just like traveling the Philippines, like convoy of cars and all that stuff. Yeah, and I'm like, well, no, Dad said you're gonna sit here. No, I'm gonna sit there. Yeah,
That's
but
funny.
that's how that's my experience with travel planning. um and speaking of like going back to like challenges, was there ever a time when you wanted to give up? Like, I mean, considering, even though traveling is like one of those aspirational things that a lot of people have, right? Like, we all want to travel. Like, was there ever a point when you said, I just want to stay at home and that's it? Like, I just want to be a regular person. Was there ever a time?
Uh, I can't say that, Mick.
It's too good to be true, right? I
Right.
mean, it's too good.
Half of my trips, I gotta tell you, are planned when my wife and I are on the road. We'd be on the 101 freeway driving to LA. We'd be booking something, or I remember booking a trip to Australia. I was in New York City in the middle of a trip, booking a trip to Australia, and so it's just there.
Yeah.
The juices are always flowing.
You're always thinking about
Always thinking.
going somewhere, right?
It's sick.
That is so awesome. And how about you, Joey?
Um, I need to travel once in a while. I get itchy feet, and then if I don't travel, I get antsy, and then it's something within. Like there's this need to do it, and since we're in this line of work, we need to also constantly update ourselves, like what's going on in the world. Like a simple thing of checking in at the airport, what goes through it, and then going through the TSA line. So once we have experienced that, we could easily tell our clients, what to expect. And with the travels that I did, I was able to advise my clients on what to see and what to do when they get to a certain country.
What
So
what would you have advised to your younger self?
travel more, go to more places. Yeah, if I had the chance, I would have. But sometimes, you're limited with a lot of things with work, and you only have a certain number of days for vacation, so you can't do as much as you wanted to.
And with Alvin, what would you have told your younger self? I mean, considering that you were part of a traveling family, right? I mean, were there any things that you would have told yourself, like stay at home more or something like that? Or I'm just
No, I
wondering.
mean, yeah, I think for all of us being in the travel industry, it's just a lifestyle. For all of us, we all love travel. We love to explore. Discoveries in our blood. And for me, like learning what happened over the course of the pandemic, the trends, I would probably tell myself to like have more purposeful travel. Have more meaning to your travel.
Mhm.
When you think of travel, when you're younger, it's partying, going to Caribbean. But while you're young, travel to the farthest places, the hardest places, because yeah, as you get older, it gets more difficult. There's more expenses involved, and when you're young, you're like invincible. You can go anywhere, you can sleep anywhere, And
That
so
is so
that just
true.
opens up so much more opportunities, because you don't need as much. And so, yeah, I'd probably tell that now to all the future travelers. If you can go to Japan, go to Japan. Save up, go to Japan. You know, you can go to Caribbean when you're older. It's close. So yeah, those are the things I'd probably tell people more about now. I have more meaningful and purposeful travel.
That is so true. And so for Joey or Jason, whoever wants to answer first, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Um, Legacy. Uh,
Ooh, I'm glad I didn't get that one.
I know that's a good question. I'm kind of stumped. I think the thing that I tell a lot of folks, even my kids, um, to appreciate the travels. I mean, especially for those of us with families.
Yeah.
I'm saying that now, especially with my kids. And please do not think that they're not spoiled or anything. But there was a year right before the year before the pandemic. They would tell me, "Dad, are we really going to go to Hawaii again?" I mean, this is a year before the pandemic, and so and because it's really a yearly thing for us.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, we are. So, because not that because it's so close and it's for us, it's like home. We don't need a GPS. We know our way around in Hawaii, and so, and again, we're going to go again next week. And so I think my point is do not take it for granted. If there was something that if you have kids or family or friends, make sure that there's always a lesson, that a takeaway from
Mhm.
each of the trips. Just the other day, my daughter was kind of teasing me what will be the song of this Hawaiian trip, because there's always, for some reason, there's always an album or a song that we end up listening to over and over again. And so, so find something that will be memorable for you, for your family, because those are the things that money can't buy, that no points
Yes.
can buy. No matter how inexpensive or how expensive that fare is, that's nothing if the memories are just so. So
Mhm.
make it worthwhile. It doesn't have to be to the Maldives. It could be to the Hollywood sign, but make everything meaningful.
Yes, that is so true. And one of the things that I remember growing up was listening to the best of Angela Bofill album on a trip to Baguio and back to Manila. And yeah, that's why I got to know Angela Bofill, thanks to my mom, because that thing was playing
Right?
like
I mean, you
over and
remember it.
over and over again.
It
Yes,
sticks
and
with you.
yes, and it's the memory. I mean, I remember Baguio with that soundtrack in my head, right?
Right.
And so,
I
Joey,
mean,
what legacy do you want to leave behind, or do you have any advices for our travelers or those who want to become avid travelers like you?
um, when clients come back from their trip and then they give me a call and tell me and thank me for the things that I've arranged for them, and I'm happy with that. And I also have a lot of senior clients. They just love me. I don't know why, but I'm very patient with them. So this I don't take it for granted that they're old. Like sometimes they are repetitive and then they ask a lot of questions. But to me, even if it's simple ticket from Los Angeles to Manila, I help them the best way I can, and I wanted to make their trip more comfortable for them. Like I arrange everything for them so that they get to the airport, everything is fine. They get their seats, they get everything. So when they come back, they're happy. So the legacy would be, it would be nice to be remembered. Like I'm a part of their memory. Like somehow they had this wonderful trip, this memorable trip, and behind that, like I was there. I was the one who helped them put it together. I was the one who helped them make it happen. So
Yes, that is so
that's a
true.
legacy. And the other part of the question you said was for advices.
Yeah, advices for would be avid travelers. Like for those people who want to travel, what will you tell them?
Um, well, I have like a list of travel tips that I've listed down that I can share. But for those who want to travel, like, well, don't forget to consult a travel agent. That's one. Yeah, doing everything your own, might be attractive, but believe me, you're going to waste a lot of time, and there's just a lot of choices that you'll encounter. It's impossible to pick. So get somebody who know what they're doing. Like somebody who's been there, and we could certainly help you with that. So
That is so awesome. And so, are there any projects or offers from anyone? So, Jason or Alvin or Joey, anybody can answer that are coming up since, we're almost, I would say, almost out of the pandemic. I mean, we're all hanging in there, but yes, if and when, we're all ready to go, travel the world, are there any um, deals or any offers that are out there or anything that we should look out for?
Uh, I think what I guess general public should know is that travel has stopped for 15 months. So these are the best prices that you're gonna get
Mhm.
as the demand and travel climate gets more confident. The prices are going to increase. So if you're thinking that, hey, I'm going to wait longer, it's not going to happen. All of 2022 is pretty much booked because all of the bookings from 2021 has just been moved over. So if you're looking to travel, you're looking for something specific, start planning now. Start planning now because you're going to have to look for availability. Like for Jason and Joy and myself, we know the trends and the seasonality of it's a cyclical type of business. And so if you don't know, like everything's up in the air, it's the best time to buy now, whether it's here for 2021, 2022, and even 2023, they're opening up rates now. So if you're interested, don't wait, start looking into traveling now. It's you'll get the best prices right now.
And
And
I echo the same thing as what Alvin just mentioned. If there's one thing I'd like to add, especially for those of us, I mean, we're now right in the heart of the summer. Um, some people have given up. It's too late to plan. No, it's not. There are still things out there, that can be had. And again, I hate to just focus on Hawaii, but just a couple of days ago, there were airfares to Hawaii from the West Coast, where you can fly to Hawaii for like $180 round trip, right? And again, to Alvin's point regarding seasonality, because people keep asking, when is the cheapest time to fly not only to Hawaii but really to any destination in general. And so, I think a good rule of thumb that people should know is whenever the kids are off school, whenever there's a holiday, you can count on the fact that those are going to be really heavy, very expensive. So be flexible with your schedule. And sometimes you really have to take the time off and not just rely on the Christmas holidays or on the summer time frames to go. Maybe you might want to go in September or October. Those try and go in the off shoulder season, and then you will find deals. And so, if you don't have the points, and that's okay, but there are really deals to be had, but you just have to be flexible and work with those schedules.
mhm.
Mhm.
So, last question: what travel destination would you recommend for me?
Oh,
For you,
where do you want to
Yeah.
go? What do you like to do?
The world is your oyster.
that's a good question,
So,
Alan. What do you like to do? I think
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, well, I guess I kind of mentioned, before to Jason that I've been to Mexico
Right.
and I've been to several Aztec and Maya ruins. So yeah, history is one of my things. So, yeah,
Right.
archaeology and anthropology are some of my things.
Have you been to Peru?
Not yet.
Okay, I mean it's we went to Peru, to Machu Picchu, and again, Alvin, Joey. I mean, if you asked me 5 years ago where is Peru, I can't even tell you where it is on the map. I had no idea that Machu Picchu was in Peru, but a deal showed up in points, and so. But anyway, so much history. Your money will go far, and again, Machu Picchu is just one of those breathtaking things that you just have to see. And you can either hike, do the trail, or in this case, you can just go up to the gate, and it's only maybe no more than 20-25 minute hike up to view Machu Picchu. Just extremely moving. I didn't think that you can walk around it, but we were able to walk around Machu Picchu. Just one of those breathtaking experience.
That is so awesome. Hopefully, one of these days, right?
Right.
So, Alvin or Joey, do you have any destination recommendations for me?
Well, if you like history, I mean, if you look at the pricing for cruises right now, especially in Europe, they're super cheap. You can get European cruises as cheap as a Caribbean cruise at this point. Airfare is still, up in the air. But if you get enough points, you can use Jason's tricks and get over there pretty cheaply. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if there was any time that you wanted to go to a bucket list place, take the effort now to do it, because I'm not saying it will never happen again, but this is the first time it's happened and prices are this low. So if you ever wanted to go to that one place and like, you know what, I don't know if I could afford it, well, if you could afford it now, go ahead and do it. Just take that time, because you'll appreciate it more or less. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of places. Greece and Italy are opening up. If you haven't been to Italy, it's amazing because there's so much history around there. And then it's just a
Yeah.
great hotspot to go to back and forth.
One of the places that I want to go to is Barcelona, just because,
beautiful.
yeah, like a bunch of my artist heroes have their own museums, and so that's one of the places that I want to go to. And just a little bit of trivia before we say goodnight to everybody. Just a little bit of trivia. I've actually been to Japan, and I didn't use any credit card points or didn't use any any deals or anything. I actually won a sweepstakes to go to Japan.
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah, so back in 2012 there was a centennial of the gifting of the cherry blossom trees from Japan to the US in Washington DC, and so those cherry blossom trees lined along the Lincoln Memorial. They celebrated the centennial of that back in 2012, and there was a sweepstakes, and I happened to join the sweepstakes, and I won.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a 5-day trip to Tokyo, and I added another week so that
Good.
we can go to Kyoto, to Osaka, and to
Nice.
Nara. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
That's why I was able to go to Japan.
Nice.
Yeah, I was there for 12 days. Yeah, and so everybody, I would like to thank everybody. I think hang on. There's one last question from Abigail Garcia Malig. Jason, how safe is the cruise at this time?
I personally have not taken a cruise around this time. I mean, what I can tell you, and I don't follow a lot of cruises. Maybe Alvin and Joey can maybe speak more, but I do know. Let's say like the Disney cruise, they launched one of their brand new ships. I forget the name, but I think they won't be sailing up until August or September of next year. So I don't know about every other cruise lines, but I personally probably would not cruise around this time. But I'd like to hear from Joey and Alvin. It's not my forte.
You want to go, Joey, first? I can go, or it's up to you.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So I do a lot of cruising. I just actually had some people just get off the cruise. Yeah, this is a perfect time to cruise. And the reason why I say that is because they're at 25% capacity. You know, you've got these mega large ships. And if they're leaving from outside of ports like Nassau, Barbados, they have stricter requirements. So everyone has to be vaccinated before they enter the ship, unlike US ports, which has to have both unvaccinated and vaccinated. But when you go on the ships, it's 25%. So a ship that literally has it's like 4,000 people now only has up to 1,000, but a lot of people aren't traveling. There's only maybe like 400 or 500 on the ship. So you basically have a huge cruise ship to yourself. And again, the ship, these costs for the ships or expenses are so low now that you can literally get for $50 a day. So if you've always wanted to go on a cruise, yes, definitely try it now. They've gotten through their first month this in July, and they've already started cruising in Europe. So you're going to see in the next 2 months a lot more availability will open up, and this is the perfect time to go cruising.
Very good to know. Good.
Mm-hmm. And
Awesome.
they're also very strict right now. So
Yep.
before you board the ship, you get tested, and then during the cruise you get tested, and then before you get off you get tested. So all those things you have to do, and they make it like from the US. They make it more miserable for those who are not vaccinated. If you want to go on a cruise, they have additional requirements, like you have to get more medical insurance, and then there are some places in the ship that you cannot go to. So your actions would be more restricted if you're not vaccinated. So most of them are vaccinated, and right now the cruise lines knows what to do, like if COVID case comes up. So they have all the like the protocols on what to do.
Good.
And cruises are cheap. I just did a cruise for Mexican Riviera today, like an ocean view, 7 days. For a couple, it's just 1,400.
Wow.
So
Oh wow.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh
And
wow. For
it's
7 days.
and then it's a pretty new ship, Carnival Panorama. So it's not bad. You're on a brand new ship, and then the price is good. You're on an ocean view, and then 7 days. It's fun.
That
It'll
is
be
so
nice.
awesome. Yeah, let's all go on a cruise.
Let's all go now.
Yeah, so Abigail Garcia Malig says thank you, and she wants more information through email. So all of our guests are actually on Facebook, and you can message them directly. And I'll also connect you with them if you like, Abigail. She wants some more information through email. So once again, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to all of our guest panelists. You guys have been so awesome. So thank you, Joey, Jason, and Alvin. You've given us so much invaluable information that all of us will surely remember. But in case we don't remember, we can always message them directly on Facebook, and also join Jason's Daddy Travels group on Facebook. Yes. Yeah, and Joey is with Hyssop Travel, and Alvin is with Travelwise International. And so thank you once again to everyone who watched us, and thank you to all of our viewers on Kumu and Twitch and YouTube, as well as Facebook. Yes, and I will message you, Abigail Garcia Malik, and thank you so much. And don't forget, on July 31st, that's Garth Garcia's concert. So we are going to have a concert here right in the heart of Hollywood on Santa Monica Boulevard and Western Avenue. That's in the Thai Mealy Arts Building. And Rosen, Enzo Morales, SoCal Collective Live, and it's hosted by Julius Floria Gracer. We're all going to have fun. Garth is going to be signing EPs, and there's going to be food, of course. So yeah, join us on Saturday, July 31st. So once again, good night, everybody, and have a safe weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow. We do have a show tomorrow with Chaika Jackson. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.